what's up? It's Sean Baligian.
What up? This is Detroit Bell here on the Baligian Bell Show.
Make sure you check us out on the Woodward Sports Network. What is up? Glad you could join us on a Wednesday morning here on Woodward Sports. He's Joik Bell. I'm Sean Baligian. It's not just any Wednesday, Joik. It's a...
Say it first.
What up, Doe Wednesday.
Put the L's up. Put those L's up.
Get those L's in the air.
What up, though? Wednesdays where we focus on Detroit, Metro
so
Detroit businesses. We both have our neck. Right? You do a better Don Cherry, so we call it even. So, what up, though? Wednesdays where we focus on Metro Detroit area businesses, local businesses. And this month, we're going to focus a little bit. One time a day, we're going to talk about things that matters in the Black history culture. So, we have a video that we might play a little bit later. We'll have it up. And so, going forward, that's what this month will consist of. Bringing a little Black history to the show, also talking sports, and willing you guys in, and also teaching a little bit too. You know?
Yeah. That's important. I love it. No, you know what? It was great. You sent me, you sent all of us last night what was the name of it? Black History in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a slideshow that you could follow along, for the simple out there like me and everything. And that's what I said. I said immediately. I was like, dude, bring something like that up once a day this month. I mean, down. Let's do it. Yeah. So it
was something that the Lions did, and I was able to reach out to the organization. Like, you know what? I love what this represents. I love how you guys have it formatted. I think it'll be a great way to engage with the audience. They say, yeah, we'll love if you use it. Like, go ahead and use it. And so I'll bring it to the show. We'll have we'll show one a day of all the different people on there. There's so many great people on there. So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
There's also a video that, and I don't know who put that video together. Art, maybe you can tell everybody who put that video.
Yeah, it was Justin.
It was Justin that put that video together?
Yeah, that was funny video.
I wish we could share it because it's just hysterical, and Joik even got a laugh out of it. We can't share it, Art, due to copyright reasons. Are we allowed to post it anywhere?
I'll post it on my page.
Okay.
So it's on the Bell and it's on the Baligian Bell page. Mm-hmm. You can go there right now. It's on the page now. You can you can go to my story on my Instagram. It's on there as well. We're gonna put it on our Twitter feed as well. So it's gonna be it's hilarious. It's funny. A little snippet from yesterday.
I loved watching it. So check that out. I think you'll get some humor out of it. Now, Maz tells me we want to talk a lot about the Lions, and in particular, what the run game may or may not be. Because I mean, let's face it, they said that that's something that they want to do. Dan Campbell has said that, and I think bringing in a guy like Anthony Lynn, that's going to help. Hopefully, it'll take some pressure off the quarterback the next couple of years and everything. But again, let's accept it. I don't think the team's going to be very good. I think they're playing the long game with this, and that's wonderful. I love it.
I'm gonna tell you this. I even heard rumors of Jared Goff being traded for more picks. It's just a rumor out there, and that's coming from a source with the team that it's been flirting around. But
if he can flip him in that contract, I'm gonna just start calling Brad Holmes a witch. I would be ecstatic to do that. I'm not joking, and that's not shots at Jared Goff. I mean, that contract is it's ugly. There's no other way to say that. And if you could flip that for picks, Joik, that's what this team has to do. And I think they know that. They're as we talked about yesterday, they're well aware that they're in a mode right now of rebuild, and this is let's see how good this can be in 2 or 3 years. I think there's a reason why that term keeps being thrown around. and it's great. I told you I would much rather be in that position, or the position that the Pistons find themselves in, than scratching and clawing to try to get back to mediocrity. You know what I mean? No, let's build. Let's go for the gusto. Let's try to do this right. Now, I really firmly believe that that's what the Lions are doing. Everything points that way, and I love it. I'm totally cool with the fact that heading into this season, I'm not. I don't have expectations for the season, and I'm totally cool with that. And maybe I'm being a hater, and you guys will call me a hater I'm sure if you feel that way, but no, let's build. Let's do it right. Let's take advantage of a slew of picks over the next couple of years. I'm going to be happy as a pig in slop.
Pig in a blanket?
In a blanket as well. Well, he's not too happy because he's going to be down my gullet in about 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I love pigs in a blanket. I love pigs in a blanket.
Put out his misery.
Get those little smokies, and then you wrap them, in that dough.
Here we go. We're going to soul again.
Oh, boy.
Drifting off into that happy
and listen,
place.
Here's when you're doing pigs in a blanket, you got to cook the smoky links first, okay? Then you put them in the oven after that. It was soul. I kind of went there for a second, didn't I? I got lost in my own world. Scott said Goff to DC for their first and a third next year. I couldn't even. Tears of joy, absolute tears of joy. If you can flip that contract, I mean, I think everybody.
And there's rumors going to, I try to keep my ear to the ground. Got a few birdies out here, so we'll see.
I think you're a little more connected than other people. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that you might be a little more connected than other people.
I don't know. We'll see.
All right. So yeah, keep an eye on this. Larry said no problem. We've been feeling like this since 1957. When do we start expecting stuff from this team, Larry? That's my mindset. Absolutely. What if I have to wait a couple more years for this team to be good? I've been waiting my whole life. Do it right now. Do it right. Build through the draft. Go collect just a boatload of draft picks. Do what you have to do. And the old adage is to get something, you have to give up something. There are going to be, Joik, there are going to be tough decisions to be made. There already have been, and let's go.
There's going to be some tough decisions to be made, and they are being made as we speak right now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? He's doing what he has to do now, so he can do what he's best at. He's best at going into the draft and building teams in the draft. So the more draft picks he can get, right, the more he'll be. I'm just saying, the more he'll be effective for the team. So I'm happy we have a guy like him in, and the moves that they're making at the front office level right now is it must be done.
It has to be done.
It must be done. It had to be done.
I don't think anybody has a problem with it. That's the one thing. We can disagree on this, that, and the other thing. I think in Lion Nation, the one thing that we all agree on is it was time to blow this up. The way they had been operating for so many years, decades, hadn't worked. It had only gotten them to a certain point, and it was time to blow this up and say, we're going to bite the bullet the next couple of years. And you know what? To me, there's a massive difference between going 5-11 when there were no expectations and going 5-11 when people were going, well, maybe they could make the playoffs. You know what I mean? To me, there's a massive difference here. So let's do it. Let's go. I got no problem with that.
We have no playoffs in our foresight right now. None.
Nope.
There's none.
Nope. And
I'm
cool with it. I'm serious.
I am.
Let's go.
Regardless if you're cool with it or not, there's been time when you weren't cool with it, right? And they still didn't go to playoffs, all right? And so now we just got to sit back and we have to enjoy the process. As fans, we have to learn how to go through the process in order to get to where we need to go. You can't just jump from that to that. And we talked about the process. As fans, we have to, as we say in football, we have to embrace the process.
I think that's what, going back to, and I can't believe it's almost 10 years ago now, that's what made the 2011 season so special, because I don't think anybody, Joik, thought that team that you eventually ended up being a part of was going to go 10-6 and make it to the playoffs. And that's what was so special about that, because in my mind it was like, okay, wow, they skipped a couple spots, right? And now let's see what Coach Schwartz can do in year 2. And as you said, in 2012, anything that could go wrong that year went wrong that year. It was just one of those years.
It was one of those years that we were always just this close. We were competing in just about every single game, right? We were competing in just about every game. And that year we had about 6 or 7 games that we lost by a touchdown or less. I mean, just right there. Now, if we just get 2 or 3 more plays in that game, we make 2 or 3 more plays in that game, things could be a little bit different, right? We can go from being, I think we're 4-12 to we might be, 12-4. So it's tough.
Yeah, it was. So I mean, and I think that was what was so special, because it was the surprise, and then you got to the point you guys did it in that, again, I hate to use this term, that magical season of 2014. I mean, that was such a good team, and you think, okay, this is just the start, and to me, this goes back to what you just said, Joik. It's like, okay, well, this is a process. And sometimes it doesn't go that way where, well, we got to this point, and then we took this step, and then we took that step. Sometimes it's this, but you have to keep progressing. And that's what I want the Lions to be in, that position where, God forbid, 6-7 years from now, people, you just know going to bed at night, wow, the Lions are going to be a playoff team. Let's see how dangerous they can be. I mean, when's the last time you felt that way? Honestly, as a Lion fan, really. In the 90s, that was kind of our birthright. You knew the Lions more often than not were going to be a playoff team. They went 91, won the division in 91, won the division in 93, went 94, went 95, went back in 97 and everything. And you kind of knew that, all right, this is pretty cool. This is I can accept that. And but there was no progression. You know what I mean? Yeah. But you knew that they had enough there that at least they were getting into the dance. Does that make sense?
Yeah, we had 2 down years, right? So if you remember, we went to the playoffs in 2011 when Javid Best was here and the magical run against the Bears. Mm-hmm. And then you fast forward. The next year we go 4-12. The following year after that we went 7-9 when we got Reggie in. And then 2014 when they let Coach Schwartz go. We had somewhat of a similar team, but a lot more pieces, right? And so that's the year that we were able to win now.
Damn good team.
Right. It was a good team. It was a
damn good team.
Good team. And so that was the type of process we had to go through. As fans, we had a little bit of success, and that's that elevator that you talk about. That we'll go in 2011, we're out for 2012 and 13. We go back in 14, we're out in 15, we're back in 16. We're back out in 17, and then we haven't been back since.
Yep.
Right. And so it's that elevator, and people have to understand. Right now, it's not going to be an elevator. It's just going to be down here for a while. And we got to be able to be okay with it.
And that's okay with it. Yep.
And you have to be able to be okay with it, because at the end of the day, when you watch this team play the next couple of years, you're going to see flashes here and there of the potential of what this team is going to be in the future, right? And so just stick with us. We got some stuff cooking.
You know what? And thank you to all the people that are saying happy birthday to my little girl. She turns 16 tomorrow. Ooh. But thank you. Yeah, sweet 16 tomorrow.
Happy birthday.
I can't. People are saying happy birthday now. That's so sweet, really, that touches me. I'm serious, but
do something special for
my little girl is 16 tomorrow. She is, I think, other parents out there, if I may for a second, because I think there are a lot of parents out there. These kids, what's happened in the last 11 months just sucks for them. Just my heart breaks. I mean, just the things that kids missed out on, and unfortunately, one of the things that missed out for her is your 16th birthday means that Dad has been working his tail off for the last year, saving up money to get you a car. And Dad thankfully found the money to get her a car. And I can't
Does she know about this car?
She does know about this car.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not, we'll save that for another day. But but we can't,
it's safe.
we can't give her the said car because, unfortunately, because of all of this, she had to wait a long time in a long line to get her driver's permit, and then there's the period of time where you're supposed to do all your driving and everything. So she doesn't get her car officially for a month. So that that kind of stinks, because, I mean, isn't that half the fun? All right, honey, go out in the driveway. There's something waiting for you on your birthday.
Good luck with that insurance.
Yeah, we went through it with Jack. And that's
Sure.
what stinks. As a parent, you want to do your best to be fair. I mean, my son, when he turned 16 a few years ago, we played a trick on him. It was awesome. We wouldn't do that to Lauren, but we did it to Jack. Again, oldest kid theory.
Right.
But he kept saying, am I getting a car? And I was like, you're out of your mind. You're not getting no car for your birthday. What do you think this is? And then when we were having the big shindig and everything, I said, Jack, go outside. There's somebody outside waiting for you. And like all you heard was a scream. It was awesome. It was like, yeah, I got over on him and everything. So
Yeah.
we got him a little Ford Focus and everything. So
Good.
yeah, unfortunately we can't do the same thing with my daughter. And I think a lot of parents out there can relate. Whether it be sports that they missed out, maybe a prom, a homecoming, games, concerts, or whatever thing. It absolutely just stinks. Stinks that these kids, unfortunately, don't get a chance to do, the rite of passage. But, the one thing that I found out during this, kids are a lot more resilient than we give them credit for.
Very resilient.
They really are. They're
resilient.
more resilient than we give them credit for.
You know what? And it's tough, man, because it takes away that discipline factor of them going to school and having that routine. And so you have to come up with routines at home. Mm-hmm. And so I remember it was a weekend, so I let my son stay up late. And he didn't have school the next day. It was a Sunday. He didn't have school the next day. So he stayed up to about 2 or 3 in the morning. And I come to work, and I go back home. He still sleep like at 5 in the afternoon, like knocked out sleep. And my house is just in disarray. I said, this will never happen again. And so I went downstairs to the computer. I typed up a schedule. This is your routine every single day. And then on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you're going to have different tasks for these different days. This is going to be included in your daily routine. So you have your daily routine you do every single day. And then on Monday, you add this in. Tuesday, you add this in. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's always something different every day. And he got on that routine. And I would hear him like at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, waking up and start to do some of the chores around the house to get some things done. So he didn't have to worry about it throughout the day. So I'm like, yeah, we're going to have a routine for you. All right. And we're still working with him, but he's trying to do them, and it's an adjustment. It's an adjustment.
Oh, but you know what? They roll with the punches. I think, you're a parent. We're always going to fret. That's just the way it is. But these kids, I think we fret more than they do. I really do.
Because they can't rid a parent. They can't fret.
Yeah.
What are you fret about? You can pay no bills.
Steve said, "You mean you didn't just
sit there and take a talking to?" No,
Scott said, "You mean you just didn't go get another bushel from the money tree in your backyard to buy another car?" My family is addicted to money. I think that's why I work 731 jobs because my money trees they're not producing that money like they used to. They just aren't producing that money like they used to. So, but you know what? I'm very fortunate because. Like you, Steve said, I had to buy my own first car. I thank God that I'm in a position where I can get my kids a car. Isn't that what every parent wants? You want your kids to have it better than you had it. Thank the Lord for that, right?
Right.
That's the coolest thing on earth is that, and so that we've already had the talk though because it's like. We're like, Laura, we can't give you the car tomorrow because you don't have your license. But, the second you get your license, we'll get you the car. So thank you.
Yeah.
Ali said this coaching staff the Lions are putting together is insane. I'm only afraid that there might be too many Chiefs and not enough Indians. I believe that this staff is going to bring out the best of Goff and Swift. I think Marvin Jones is going to follow Matt to L.A. Galladay going to get a deal done, and I hope they stake the D. Maybe bring back Sue, J.J. Watt. I don't think it's going to happen in this offseason. I just don't think that they're going to make any kind of splash. Number one, because they took on that monstrous, can we say it, awful contract of Jared Goff. And number two, I don't think they want to be good this year. And I'm totally fine with that. Joik, what do you think about the staff, though? I don't know how much you and I have talked about that, and Anthony Lynn is one of the things that we're going to be talking about. I also want to remind you we have to check in with Chief Meteorologist Tom Mazaway our chief meteorologist here at Woodward Sports, about the weather forecast for Super Bowl. And I think Joyke's got some interesting points about that. What do you think about his take? Because a lot of people have said, use that analogy or use there are too many chefs in the kitchen. I like it. I like that they're putting together the staffs that they're putting together.
You know what? We talked about this earlier when you have all these guys coming in and they have this ego. And so as an NFL coach or as an NFL player, you're going to somewhat have an ego, right? But you have to be able to maneuver and come in and kind of figure out where you fit in. They're going to have to put on a little bit of Vaseline, kind of ease their way inside a little bit, a little bit. And so I can't come in too, bro. I remember
I can't believe you just.
I did. I did. Ease away in a little bit.
I just saw the replay on the dumb computer screen in front of me, and now it's even worse. Just ease it in a little bit.
You know what's funny, though? You know what's hilarious? So a coach used that analogy, and I found it very hilarious. So he had it was the coach, and he had just got he had just became the guy that was over the run game for a team, and he had just went to another team, and so he said we still kept in contact when he left, and he said, I'm I got some ideas, but I got to ease my way. And I got a little bit of that. You can't come in too hard, you got a lot of egos in here. You have a lot of egos in here, so you got to massage their egos a little bit. You got to see where you fit.
Stop! It's making me uncomfortable.
Huh? Everything makes you uncomfortable.
You're talking about putting stuff in and using your fist when you're like, it's just weird. We're all adults here.
All right, raise your hand. And be respectful, bro. Be respectful. But anyway, like I said, when you have a lot of egos coming in, it's gonna be some of this, right? There's gonna be a lot of button head. There's gonna be a lot of that. But at the end of the day, they have to all know that it's there for one purpose. You have one head coach. He has the last say so. But I think the respect factor is bigger than the egos in this scenario, right? And so I think they'll be able to work it out, figure things out.
These guys all know, look, whether we want to admit it or not, there is a rep about the Detroit Lions. Whether you like it or not is inconsequential, okay? These guys know that they will be heroes and legends forever if this is the group of people that turned around the Detroit Lions. I mean, seriously. And I'm not just talking about here. I'm talking about, what will people be saying? Oh, this was the DC for the turnaround of the Detroit Lions. This was the OC for the turnaround of the Detroit Lions.
No, it's a collective.
Yeah, right?
It's a coaching style.
Right.
Just a coaching style.
No, I'm talking when jobs become available. All of a sudden, those names become gold.
Period.
Joyke Bell is seriously being considered for the next head coach of the LA Chargers. He was the OC on those great Detroit teams. What Joyke Bell did in his 2 years as the OC at Detroit, you can't deny that. Look at these numbers, and then there's your snazzy graphic, and there's the Lions' history of lack of success, and all of a sudden, Joyke Bell was behind the offense that won three straight playoff games.
But listen, though, you said the key thing. Look at his numbers.
Yeah.
Right? Numbers don't lie. And so even if a team was to go out and play very well, that doesn't mean the whole team is going to get a big contract. It doesn't mean that.
Yeah.
You're going to have certain players who are going to get those big contracts in the offseason. And then you have some guys who, like I said, in the coaching staff who say, the special team ranked in the bottom 10, right? But the team still went to the Super Bowl. And they might have lost in the Super Bowl, but they got there. And is that special team coach going to get a big contract?
Yeah.
They're going to look at the numbers. And so that's one thing about the NFL, the eye in the sky don't lie.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That's a huge saying in our league. The eye in the sky don't lie. What you put on tape is your body of work. And there's no denying that.
Stephen III said Goff money is gone after 2 years. I believe you are correct. He's got a $43 million guaranteed hit right now. That's guaranteed money that is going to be coming his way, and
Is that from the Rams?
The Ram deal, yeah. And that's why this isn't me saying this. I know somehow, some way, I've become the president of the Jared Goff haters fan club. Look it up. I mean, it is generally regarded as just an awful contract.
But at the same time, if you look at his contract, if he had an agent like Stafford, he would have made the Rams responsible for it in a certain year of his contract where that team was responsible for it. The same way we're responsible for Stafford, $19 million next year.
Well, and that, to me, that's the biggest thing. I mean, there's money that's still on the books that has to come off the books that is going to clear them in a couple years, and that's why I think people like me are saying, bite the bullet for a couple years, collect those draft picks, and in a couple years, guess what? You're going to have, not only are you going to have a bunch of new young talent in here, but you're going to have all this money that suddenly becomes available. So when you're close, like the Cleveland Browns did, when you're close, Joy, they can say, you know what our team needs right now? This guy would be let's bring in Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones will be our 2, our 3, whatever the case may be. He'll fit hand in glove. And suddenly that guy might be more interested in coming here. You know what I mean? Hey, I like what Detroit's put together. Look at all that youth, man. They're on the verge of something. And all of a sudden, everything comes together, and you've got yourself the money, and you've got those young pieces from doing your due diligence at draft time. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like, what will this be in 2 years? That excites me. I'm sorry, it does. I get, let's go. I mean, you have to make the picks count, no doubt about it. But all of a sudden, when those two roads can converge, and you've got all those draft picks, you have the 2 first-round draft picks, assuming they hold them. You've got the 2 first-round draft picks in 2022 and 2023, and you've got all this money coming off the books. Ooh, baby. Then all of a sudden you start to get, okay, I see what you're doing. And this is the early stages, but it has me excited because if they do this right, I think this is a period where they could have some lasting success. I do. Wouldn't that be awesome? Where people are talking 10 years from now about the Detroit Lions being one of the usual suspects in the NFL. I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
You wouldn't know what to do with yourself?
No.
I know what you'll do.
Eat. I'd fire up both smokers.
Yeah. All right, what would you do? That's nice. Hey, so Sean, moving ahead.
All right.
Moving ahead. The weather.
Let's get into that when we come back. Let's get into that.
When we come back.
He can talk about this. It's interesting because maybe you've heard his take on snow. What is the take on rain? Is it as annoying as we think it is?
It is.
We'll get into that when we come back. Grow Green's Dank Deals program rolls on with deep discounts on the grow gear you're looking for. Crazy deals like GH Flora Bloom 6 gallons for $50, Gavita Flex 750 systems for just $250, and Green Cleaner quarts for only $49. Head to growgreen.com to score a dank deal today. Grow Green knows that your time is money and is best spent in the garden. That's why they're offering Michigan $50 flat rate shipping, where they'll bring any size order anywhere in the state for just $50. Remember to mention Woodward Sports for a free shirt. How big of a factor is rain? Well, a guy who played in the rain will tell you when we come back. Right here, it's Woodward Sports.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate
of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
What up? Glad you could join us. It's a What Up, Doe Wednesday here on Baligian Bell. Glad you could join us. Art in the house, Maz in the house, Fish in the house. Maz and I are totally nerding out talking about old Super Bowls. I love talking this stuff with Maz because it's like Maz, I mean this in all respect. It's great. You remember crap like I remember crap. So it makes me happy. It's like I don't need no damn phone to look things up, man. It's up there. Our chief meteorologist in Woodward Sports also happens to be Tom Mazaway. And Tom Mazaway tells me that there is a warm front that will be moving through. I'm making up the warm front part. But rain is in the forecast, Joik, down in Tampa. And some people might say, oh, in other news, the sun rises. It does rain in Tampa this time of year. It's been known to do that. And if you've been down to the Tampa area, the craziest thing is the 4 o'clock rain every day. It's really, it rains like in the spring and the summer. It rains every day at 4 o'clock.
Every day.
It could. I'm serious. It's nuts. It's crazy. It's like because they're on the Gulf. It's just like all that humidity builds up.
Yeah.
And it might be 10 minutes. It might be 15 minutes. But it's a beautiful day. It rains. It stops raining, and it's a beautiful day again. It's incredible down there. I almost bought a place up the coast a little bit. I know a little bit
Up
about
the coast where?
Yeah. Destin. Are you familiar with Destin? It's in that
Sun
Panhandle
Dustin?
area.
Is it Sun Dustin or just Dustin?
It's Destin.
Destin.
Yeah.
I think
It's near the Florabama. Is that what they call it?
I've been there one
that
time.
Area?
I've been to Destin, Florida.
Fell in love with it.
One time.
Absolutely fell in love with it.
With the one time I took my son one time. What did we do there? Oh, I think we just hit the beach.
Love it.
Hit the beach.
They have that special kind of blue water in that area. I forget what they call it. The emerald side. It's just beautiful. Absolutely. Yeah, we almost got a place down there, but we thought it wisely against it. You have one kid in college right now, another one starting in 2 years.
Smart. A smart deal.
Money better spent elsewhere.
Yeah.
Money better spent elsewhere.
Yeah.
All right. You said, if you haven't heard Joik say this again, I want him to say it. I don't want to put words in his mouth.
Yeah.
You said you kind of liked snow, right? You liked snow.
No, I'm not. I like playing it when it's not snowing.
Okay.
All right. When it's snowing, you don't like it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everything.
You don't mind playing in snow?
No, I don't mind playing in it, but it definitely changes. I didn't have a good game in the snow game. It could have been better. They didn't call me out of bounds, but I did have 2 fumbles that game because due to the snow and just how moist the ball stayed. It stayed wet the entire game. Even if they grabbed the towel and wipe it off, I had stuff. You can't wear anything on your arms. You should never wear anything on your arms, at least not on your forearm as a running back. But I will wear these quarter shirts when they kind of came right to my elbow and stopped. I had to rip the whole sleeve off after my after my second pump. I had to just take all the sleeves off, and I don't think I had any more fumbles after that. But that put our team in a bad spot. But even then, we win the second half. I think we were winning, and we didn't pull it out. And so I like playing in the snow, but the weather does play a major role. From what cleats you wear to the type of gloves you wear. They have certain gloves you have to wear for these certain games where it goes from the patent leather sticky ones to like a offensive lineman glove to like where it's not sticky. It's like a more of a cloth material, and I guess when you kind of get it wet, it gets better to grip the ball. It's weird, right? And so and I hated those gloves. Hated them. You
know what's funny? We were talking about this before the show started, and thank you. I want to make sure that Andy, Emerald Coast, that's what it's called. That Emerald Coast, northern Florida. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. I think I'm going to end up there one day. If you want to find me 20 years from now, I'm going to be eating chicken wings on the Emerald Coast. I promise you that. That's where I'm going to be. I'll buy you a beer. Art, you in? I'll buy you a beer.
Yeah, I'm in.
All right.
Oh, I didn't raise my hand. Sorry.
But no, check it out. Joik, Troy Aikman, a great, won 3 Super Bowls. Unbelievable span in that time. Like, I don't think enough is said. Everybody talks about Michael Irvin, rightfully so. Everybody talks about Michael Irvin, rightfully so. What he did in that span of years, go back and look at his numbers during those 3 or 4 years they won the Super Bowl, including the NFC Championship game they lost where he threw for like 399 yards. He was sick. But the one thing that everybody knew, and I saw an interview on this a few years back, like everybody around the league knew that it was almost psychological with him how much he hated rain. and how he did not like to perform in rain, and he did not like to wear the gloves, and it was like almost psychological with him. Rain is something completely different than snow, right?
Yeah, it is. But from a quarterback position, it's totally different from a running back position. And then depending on what you're playing, if you're playing in grass or you're playing on turf, and for us, whenever it rained and we're playing on grass, we'll always have to change our cleats out and put the screw-ins and probably get the little longer runs because so it can dig into the ground just a little bit more, right? Just a little bit more. And so it's just smaller adjustments you have to make as a player as far as your preparation. Sometimes if we're playing outside in the snow, but we're an indoor team, and we might go outside for that whole week and practice outside. So say we're playing Green Bay, we're going to practice in January or in late December outside that whole week just to start getting our body familiar with that type of cold. And in Detroit, you can do that, right? Tampa wasn't able to do that, and they still went up there and won.
Yeah.
Right? But I don't think that game was cold enough to affect the game, right? And sometimes it's not even how cold it is, the wind chill, that cold air hitting you, the hawk hitting you.
Misery.
When you walk outside, you get hit with the hawk.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I remember when I was at Wayne State, I would have to walk about a half a mile every morning during winter condition in February. And when you come out of our dorm, you come out the door, and you got to walk around the corner of the building, which takes you to the street, so it's wide open. You walk around that corner, and that wind, wow, hits you. I woke up one morning, I hit that corner, and that wind hit me, and for a split second, I said, you know what? I'll do the extra conditioning. I'm gonna go back upstairs to my room, and I'm just not gonna go today. And something said, no, Joy, get your butt over there, and I just pushed through it. Yeah, we had those. You had those days here, right? But when you're practicing in it, you have somewhat of an advantage, all right? If you can be in it and just coming here, you can't really prepare for this type of weather.
No.
That type of weather, if you're in a warm climate state. And so for me, I kind of enjoy playing here in that type of weather because I was adjusted to it. I grew up in it, and so.
That's what's funny. I think sometimes we, as we try to play junior analysts and everything, make such a big deal about it. Like the snow and the cold, right? I mean, more often than not, Joy, as you said, more often than not, if Miami comes up to Green Bay and it's Green Bay weather, Miami's going home with an L. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, and it depends. Now, again, if it's 35 degrees and all that stuff, well, you can deal with that. That is totally different.
That's totally different from below zero.
Exactly. When you're talking about zero with a wind chill of minus 30, and oh, by the way, there's snow and ice on the turf, that's something different. Yeah. I don't know how there could be an advantage with rain because
Concrete.
You know as well as I do. I haven't heard anybody say it yet, but if this weather forecast hold, you know that people are going to be sitting there going, well, who does this give an advantage to? I don't think it gives an advantage to anybody. It's rain, right?
It's rain, but it does affect the game, the game calling, right? The play calling, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right. So it can go from being a passing game to a run game. Now who has a better run game? And that's what it'll boil down to. And are we still going to go? Are we still going for those deep passes? And, the Chiefs, they thrive on the deep passes. They can get behind the defense. Can they still do those passes in this type of weather, right? And that's the big way that they can jump ahead early is by using that weapon that they have and who we call the cheetah, right? Who we call the cheetah. So if they're not able to run their play calling that they've used this entire season in order to get ahead early in the game, how's that going to affect them? And they've always responded, right? I wonder how they respond to this type of weather.
You know what's interesting? I want to ask you, and I don't want you to mention any of your quarterbacks by name, okay? But of all the quarterbacks that you've played with, and you have to remember he's played with a couple of generational talents, Peyton Manning and Drew Brees, and I'm a Matthew Stafford fan. I think I said it once, I've said it 100 times, I think he's a damn good quarterback. I don't use the word great. I don't, sorry. But I think he's a damn good quarterback. Was there ever a guy or a game you remember where the quarterback was doing some serious complaining about rain or anything?
Never.
No?
Never.
Okay. Yeah, because it's interesting to me because I don't know when I was a kid. I'm not going to – I loved going outside and playing in the rain. It drove my mom
I'm just
nuts.
saying, no player's going to complain about the weather.
I loved it.
All right, I'm going to tell you right now, no, you're not going to hear one player complain about the weather per se. They might say, yeah, it's cold outside, so I'm going to layer up a little bit. And as a receiver, you can layer up as a receiver. As a running back, we can't layer up like that. Or we shouldn't layer up like that. You don't want anything on your arms to make the ball slippery. I'm trying to think of probably the coldest game I've ever been a part of. It was in Green Bay, and I think the coldest game I was a part of was the game I didn't play in. And it was probably because I wasn't playing while I was so cold. But this was by far the coldest game.
Was it the Matt Flynn game, 2011?
2011.
Yeah.
You remember that game, don't you? You remember?
I know.
that
I'm
game?
going to stay in a good mood. No. Yeah, I remember it.
You know what?
It was 10 years ago. I got to let it go.
Yeah, and I remember Sam Gash. He had on a polo shirt, no undershirt, had on a visor hat, and I said, "Coach, that's all you wearing?" He said, "That's all I need." I said, "Why would you do that?" He said, "Listen to me. It's all mental. It's all mental." You know, he's an old school. It's all mental. Big guy. Do you, Coach? Do you? Hey, Tim, let me get a sweatshirt. Let me get a long john. Let me get 2 pairs of socks. Let me get a pair of long johns for, pants. Let me get 2 jogging pants. Let me get a hat. Let me give me some hand warmers and some gloves. I had it all on. I was still freezing. I was so cold that whenever the defense was on the field, I was sitting on the heated bench for the defense. Whenever the offense was on the field, I was sitting on the bench for the offense. I was not moving. I had my feet inside of the bench so my toes can get warm. And I'm looking at Coach Gass. I'm like, boy, he's a trooper. So we go back in after the first half. I think we might have been down. And we came back out. And I'm on the sideline, and I see Coach. Sam Gass, he has on everything I have on. He went back, he put on a jacket, he put on a sweatshirt, he put on another pair of socks, he put on another pair of pants, he put on another hat, he took that visor off and got the Scully. That was the funny. I said, "Coach, what happened? I thought you." He said, "No, that was just the first half. Yeah. I'm not doing that again."
You know what's funny? Like I said, more often than not, that team that is used to that is going to win. I mean, not all the time. We've seen Maz brought up an example of your boy Mike Vick going in and getting a memorable win in Green Bay. But when you're talking that cold or that much snow, I remember, Maz, sorry, I'm going to bring this up to Maz because, Maz, you're going to remember this. Do you remember the AFC Championship game? Yeah. How about Maz? So the San Diego Chargers and the Cincinnati Bengals played. This is when the Super Bowl was at the Silverdome. And the Chargers, it was called Air Coryell. They had this unbelievable offense. Do you know what it was like? It was like the offenses of today, but 1981. It really was. And it was called Air Coryell. And back then it was a big deal because they were like, we'll run every now and again. And they even traded away their all-pro running back because they could, a guy by the name of Chuck Muncie. And so they go into Cincinnati for the AFC Championship game. I think it's safe to say, even though Cincinnati had home field, everybody thought San Diego was going to win. But the funny thing happened. Do you remember that game? Yeah, it was. And well, that was later. That was funny thing. It was like minus 50 degrees that day. Chargers did nothing. I mean, nothing. It was like somebody forgot to plug them in. I'm not joking.
Weather.
And you know what? They grinded it out. A little
Playing
Pete
that Mother
Johnson
Nature.
here, Kenny Anderson flipping a couple passes around. And that's exactly what it was. It was the weather. Yeah. And that's why I say if they would have played that game on a normal day, I'm convinced the Chargers win that game. I'm convinced. And that's the closest his teams got to the Super Bowl, and then, of course, later that afternoon was the catch. That was a memorable afternoon, Dwight Clark and the catch. But, that's the type of stuff that if you get a game like that, are you kidding me? Oh, that's home field advantage, baby.
Baby.
That's no doubt.
Saw it coming.
Scott said, that hate is going to burn you up. That heat keeps me warm at night. That's a Red Dawn quote. Well done. Well done, Scott. Quoting Red Dawn. I'm proud of you for that. But so Joik, really with rain, it just sucks. Is that the best way to say it? It
doesn't really. I mean, it's just a part of the game, right? And
you guys are so professional.
Yeah, it's just part of the game. It's just part of the game. It's and that's the beauty part, and that's the beauty about football, being able to play in Mother Nature, right? To play in this inclement weather. I remember a coach took his wife to a freezing football game. You might know who this guy is. Freezing, snowing outside, and he wanted to see if she could make it through the game. And she made it through that game. And he said it was at that moment he knew he was going to marry her.
That's awesome. Who is it? Can I ask?
Huh?
Tell me off the air?
I'll tell you off the
air. All right.
I'll tell you off the air.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Right. And so I got a lot of cool stories. We talked earlier about a couple of stories. Because we talked about, my guy Caldwell going to the Super Bowl in 2009 with Peyton Manning. And people say that Peyton Manning took Caldwell to the Super Bowl. But I have stories about that, too, about, like, people who had to play against Peyton Manning, DCs who had to plan against Peyton Manning, how they would tell you that they'll have to go into the game with 2 game plans, one for the first half and then another game plan for the second half, because Peyton will pick them apart if he can make adjustments to what they're doing from the first half, right? And even Caldwell said that how can you coach a guy that knows more than half of your coaching staff? And I gave you a couple stories about that with Jim Bob Cooter. So
tell the Ed Reed story. It's story time with Uncle Joik now, but you told us a fascinating story, like before the show started, about what Ed Reed did.
Yeah, so when Ed Reed played, he's Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever do it, and he would bait Peyton Manning, and not in the game, but in prior games. Probably if they played Peyton Manning in week 12, he's baiting Peyton Manning in week 2, 3, 4. And what he would do is they'll be in a certain coverage. And when they did this certain coverage, he would blow the coverage on purpose because he knows that Peyton Manning is watching that film.
Gosh, that's awesome.
And so he'll blow that coverage a couple times a game, or, once every so often throughout up until the point where they played. That when they play Peyton Manning, he'll play the coverage the way it's supposed to be played and get a pick, right? And get a pick or something like that.
That's awesome.
Right? Or a PBU or something that can make a huge play. And, and when I tell people football is chess, it's not checkers. You're really, it's really a mind game. So when people say that football is 90% mental, 10% physical, it's just that, right? It's just that. And that's why I say that when we play in different type of weather, it doesn't affect us as much because it's mental, right? It's all mental. And once you can get, your body will give up before your mind does. So if you can train your mind to kind of push through, then your body will follow.
That's great stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's. I remember there was one year. It was the first year that Peyton had a disgusting year, maybe 05 or whatever, and he was throwing 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Who thinks of that though? I'm sorry.
No, and you know what?
Every who thinks of something like that?
It was kind of funny, Joik, because what happened at that point in time is they played each other late in the season and they absolutely shut Peyton down. I mean, so it's fun. It worked.
Yeah,
it worked. I mean, Peyton that was the first time he set the record for most touchdowns in a season. It worked. And then when they played the Ravens shut them down. I mean, that's it. It's exactly what you just said. It's chess. That's chess. That's not. I know what your next move is going to be.
How do you beat a guy?
I'm going two moves down.
So you know what he did? He knew how much of a film watcher Peyton was, and he used it against him. He took his strength and he used it against him. 48 Laws of Power. Read the book if you haven't read it yet.
I love it. I think that's just absolutely beautiful. I mean,
how can we beat a guy that knows everything, that knows too much? How do you beat a guy like that? You use his wits against him.
That's art of war stuff.
Exactly. I'm telling you, that's what it is.
Speaking of art of war, have you checked out the Art of War podcast yet here on the Woodward Sports Network?
Ooh.
Art, are you familiar with the Art of War podcast on the Woodward Sports Network?
Is that Art?
Did you like how I lobbed you a softball, Art?
It's Art of Combat, but you were
Art
close.
of
Hey,
Gosh,
listen, it's
damn
okay.
it.
It's okay. We're not gonna, it's okay.
This close to finally making someone happy.
Sean, listen to me. It should have been a thank you. Nothing else. You know what they say? Everything before butt is bullshit.
These old man like.
Hey, start a new career in an industry that is always essential, the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu. There is one area that I think that the Lions may surprise people on, and one area on the Lions that I really like moving forward. You can always add, but when we come back, we're going to talk about that right here on Woodward Sports.
Hey, it's Joey from Woodward Sports, and I am here in downtown Fenton at Bridge Street Exchange. This place has so many amazing things for guys and ladies. This is the hidden spot that you got to come check out. I'm talking thorough good boots, best boots ever. They have barware. They got the Stormy Cromer hats. They got Carhartt hats, a huge Carhartt selection. They even got Snoop Dogg underwear. So go check them out, bridgestreetexchange.com, and use the code word WSN for 15% off.
See, Maz and I, like, during the break, we just have, like, weird memories. And you guys can look this up. We were talking about games in the element. There was a playoff game. I think it was 88. You can fact check me there. I think it was the 88 playoffs between the Eagles and the Bears, Joik, and it was in Chicago. And there was so much fog. There was no reason, like, it was even on TV. I'm not being funny. It was like, why are they even putting this on TV? It was that foggy. It's incredible. I told you, Chicago is a weird place in the regard that I remember I went to a game there, I don't know, like 20 years ago, and it was like a beautiful...
Where's this?
Chicago. It was this beautiful early October day where it's like 65 degrees. And anybody that knows me knows I can wear shorts any day, but it's like 65 degrees. It was like warranted. And then you go inside that godforsaken spaceship stadium, and it's like 10. Because that wind blows through those damn pillars right on Lake Michigan, and you're like, what the hell happened? It was just 65 degrees. I mean, that place is unbelievable like that. But no, seriously, you guys should check that out. Check out the video. It was Eagles-Bears, I think it was 1988, and it was fog. And like Maz said, Maz remembered the broadcaster. It was Vern Lundquist. Vern Lundquist trying to call a game in the fog. You couldn't see a damn thing. Like, there would be moments in the broadcast where you could kind of see, but when they had any, like outpan, you couldn't see. You couldn't see anything. It was unbelievable. And that's the stuff that you have to deal with, you know? Scott said that game, sorry, Maz, that game was so foggy, Summerall could have called it. Nobody would have known the difference. Gail Sayers. Pat, he's been retired for 20 years. Sayers.
That's hilarious. What are we doing here, guys?
All right, Joy. This is not a team that's at the bottom of the barrel, this Detroit Lion team. I mean that. They are not at the bottom of the barrel. There are pieces moving forward. You and I have talked about it a lot. There are pieces on the defensive side of the ball that we hope turn into something. On the offensive side of the ball, and if you guys disagree, yell at me, but I love what you've done on your line. You have two really darn good pieces, and it's amazing what happens to Taylor Decker when you put another competent body up there, isn't it? I think Frank Ragnow might be the best center in football. I think Taylor Decker is a great piece. Those are two pieces moving forward. You have a couple of hopes up there with Jonah Jackson in particular, but you have a couple pieces on there where you're going, okay, this is a good base. You get yourself a Joik Bell, you get yourself a Reggie Bush, you get yourself a DeAndre Swift, Kerryon Johnson. I think we know what he is up to this point in time, and I'm fine with it because it's all about RBC now. But there are some pieces on that offensive line and in the Lions' offensive backfield that make you go, All right, well, that's one area that might be good going forward. So with that being said, Anthony Lynn, if people don't know his background, the Bills led the NFL in rushing yards his only calling season in Buffalo. I think you saw what the Chargers did and how successful they were running the ball. Joik, as a running back, isn't this music to your ears?
Well, Sean, when I think about what the running backs are doing, did you hear the voice? That's Sean. Coming through your life.
Your voice isn't high enough. That's it. His voice is too deep in bass.
It's too deep in bass.
I got that first tenor / alto voice.
The
but
first tenor.
Yes, when I look at what that line is doing, Joik, I really like that Taylor Decker. Frank Ragnall's an all-pro.
What was the question you asked me? We got through. What was the question you asked me, Sean?
Do you like the pieces moving forward, and are you expecting more out of this running game this season? I like it. I'm not expecting wins.
I'm not expecting more. I want them to maintain what they're doing.
Okay.
I want them to maintain what they're doing. I don't know what's going on with AP. I don't know if he's going to come back. I don't know if they're going to bring him back. Hello, Swift. I don't know what we're going to do with Kerryon. He needs to stay healthy. He's good when he's healthy. I don't know how they're going to use him. But I like the running back by committee. I like that leadership in that running back room with AP in there. And he was productive. He was really productive.
He was productive. I'm not sure he's going to be back, but he was productive.
He was productive. So, I mean, you can't take that away from him at all. You can't sit here and say, he's lost a step. Well, he might have lost a step, but, he's still productive in this NFL. And if we're comparing him to Adrian Peterson status, yeah, he lost a step. But if we're comparing him to an NFL running back, he still can be a starter in this NFL. He can still be on an
RBC, running back by committee. Yeah. He can be a part of an RBC. Yeah.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
He can.
I agree.
And so he can even be a starter in this league. So I like it. I like AP in that locker room because he's giving tips to the younger guys. And I'm not saying he's the main success, but he can give tips to Swift to make him better at his position.
Do you know who I really liked when we saw him a couple of years ago? I liked Bo Scarborough. I did. I liked Bo Scarborough. When they kind of had to, they were forced to play him. And I'll tell you what, talking to him, great kid, head on his shoulders. Hey man, I have to make the most of this opportunity. It's hard to make this league. This is a guy that people knew in college, and I'll never forget the first time I talked to him. He said, "Man, I have to make the most of this opportunity." And he played so well down the stretch in that awful 19 season. I was kind of hoping to see more from him. I think, Joy, to your point, you kind of need some of those background guys. And I hate to do this again, but you were talking about two successful franchises. New Orleans, look at their depth chart at running back. The Patriots, look at their depth chart at running back. Now, were there studs with the Patriots? No, but they had a bunch of good backs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's important to see. And I don't know. I don't think you and I have ever talked about this. I love DeAndre Swift. He made rookie mistakes. Wow, shocker. Rookies are going to make rookie mistakes. Yeah. I love the kid's skill set. I think he's a running back
lot of upside.
Yes.
A lot of upside. And talking with scouts from just around the league in general, when he was coming out, they liked his body type. He had a NFL body, right? They said sometimes when they look at Kerryon, he needs to put a little bit more weight on. He needs to work on his body, not body of work, but he needs to work on, his on his build, on his body structure, because that can play a big role in staying healthy, right? And it's deeper than just being in the weight room, but it has a lot to do with different things you're doing with stability work. Might do some yoga, because the last thing you want to be as a football player is a stiff football player, to where you have all these muscles, but you can't turn around. You can't scratch your back. You can't scratch your back.
Run upright guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of things that goes into it. And so being a pro is figuring out what works for you, right? And I think that's what Kerryon has to do. He has to have a sit down. He has to do some that self-talk to and say, what works for me, right? And start trying different things. And that's how you become a pro, by knowing what works for you, learning your own body. And that's one thing I learned as a player, just from watching other players. And I might see something that one player does that I like. It might be something else over here that another player does that I might like. And then it might be something that I just like for myself, and I just incorporate it. And now this is my routine. This is what makes me a better player. This is what makes me feel good. And this is what helps me to perform. And as a professional, you have to be able to have that talk to with yourself, and that consistency and that persistence until you find exactly what works for you. It's tough. It's hard to do, but
hell yeah,
it's hard to do because everybody's bodies is different.
It's funny you say that about Kerryon Johnson, and the knock about Kerryon Johnson coming out of Auburn was in part what you said, and the I guess the relative of that is he can't stay healthy. And you know what? In his time here with Detroit, unfortunately, I think the scouts nailed that.
So I'm gonna ask you this question. I'm gonna ask you this question now: is he not healthy because he's not an every down back, or he can't stay healthy because they used him wrong, or he can't stay healthy because he doesn't know how to take care of his body yet?
In my
It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of everything, but in one man's opinion, I think what he's also shown in his first few years is he is the number 2, probably number 3 part of an RBC. One man's opinion. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
So you have like a 1A, 1B, like Reggie, and and then you have Theo.
And then there's Kerryon.
And there's Theo coming up before he comes up.
Yeah, you know what, though? But I think Swift's skill set is such where he could also play the role of...
And this is not a shot at Theo, because Theo was a great running back.
Yeah. I think Swift's skill set is such that he could also play the role of Theo and stay in there on third down and be a real adequate part of the passing game. He was what he does as a receiver out of the backfield is huge.
He missed in the corner of the end zone.
I feel so. My heart just breaks.
It broke off.
My heart just breaks.
You know what? But those type of plays right there, right, is going to separate. It separates the good from the greats.
Yeah.
Right. And so as he goes farther in his career, he won't. I don't think he's making those mistakes.
Do you know what? And Steve said about Kerryon, he's a good third down back. The argument will be, and I'm making the argument in my head right now, is, and this isn't a shot at you, Steve, I hope you know that, but you know what people will say? You wasted a second-round pick on a guy that is merely the C of a running back committee, as opposed to the A or the B. Why did you draft him? Why did you draft him in the second round? You could have gotten Joik Bell off the scrap heap. You could have gotten this guy undrafted free agent. You could have gotten this guy in the 6th round.
Now that's where your scouting department comes in, and then you being able to take counsel from your scouting department. All right, you bring people in, or you have people there that you might value their opinion, but you might not trust it all the way, and you might always say, you know what, my way is better. And that's probably why a lot of guys aren't in those rooms when they're making those type of decisions with the last regime. So with this regime, I think it's going to be more open. I think it's going to be more I think there'll be more opinions. I think there'll be more looks. I think that value and the work that they put into scouting these players will be taken more serious. Right, more serious. So I think it's going to be, like I said, this regime that's coming in, the approach is totally different. And I love what Sheila Ford is doing, how she's standing by her words. We're going to get football like-minded minds in here, like-minded people in here, and we're going to do it this way because the old formula wasn't working. Blow it up.
Yep. Absolutely. Steve also brings up Tabor.
Drop the bomb.
100%.
Drop the bomb, blow it up.
Tease Tabor is a guy that you take later in a draft, and Tease Tabor is a guy that, and again, this is Joy. We've talked about this, putting guys in positions they shouldn't be in. Is there a place for a guy like Tease Tabor in the NFL? I believe there is. I really do. If what was the thing that everybody said about Tease Tabor? Okay, he was too slow. Everybody and their brother said he was too slow.
I said it about everybody.
Right, and that's it. So to me, you know what? Don't put him in a position where he's too slow. And I'll go back to Jared Davis. Okay, Jared Davis is a guy that will put a dent in your car if Jared Davis can catch you. Jared Davis is like a dog chasing cars out there. He is. Because they're constantly putting him in a position he shouldn't be out in coverage. That's not his game.
So my question, do we get rid of Jared or do we see what he do with his new regime?
I would love to hold on to Jared because he works his tail off, and for once I wish this coaching staff, instead of trying to fit the square peg into the round hole, would put guys in positions to succeed as opposed to asking them to do that which they can't do.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
No.
I love Jared Davis. I feel sorry for him.
It makes total sense. It makes total sense.
I feel sorry for him. I do. I'm serious. They put that guy in, and he's never bitched. He's never complained. He works his tail off. I've told you, every time you see him, if we get a chance to go out there this year, he'll look twice as better as he was 2 years ago. He does everything. And I hate this franchise constantly put guys in positions that they look.
Except offensive players.
Right? You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure this out. I'm not breaking any news here. Jared Davis isn't good in coverage. He isn't. So what do you do in a big game against the Dallas Cowboys a couple years back?
The game is changing.
Let's have Jared Davis out in coverage on Zeke Elliott.
Hey, listen,
well, of
the
course
game is
Zeke
changing.
Elliott's going to go for 70 yards.
Listen, I'm telling you, in this game as a linebacker, this is turning into a what type of league. So if he can't cover, right, put him on the D-line. You know what I'm saying? Like, put him on the D-line. If he
Use
can't
his
cover,
strengths.
If you can hold a receiver or a running back at the receiver position in this league nowadays, your value goes down, right? And when I was in the league, I was a firm believer in the more you can do, right? I wasn't a punt returner. I wasn't a kickoff returner, but I could do it.
Yep.
So what was I doing? Every practice catching punts, catching kickoffs, never catching kickoffs or punts in practice, but after practice, when they have the you can stay after 10, 15 minutes, you're going to catch a couple, right? And what did that do for me? The coaches gained trust that I can catch punts. They believed in me. They trusted me. And that's all you need is one person to believe. And when the game time came around, I had never practiced punt return ever, and the coach threw me out there and said, go catch one. Hey, go catch one. Right now? Yeah, go get one. Say no more. I'm out there. And that's where preparation meets opportunity. You don't never know where it's coming. But when it does come, you got to be ready to take full advantage of it. And that's why I say you can't cheat the process, because if I'm not catching those punts after practice and I get out there in the game and I drop it, he doesn't practice catching balls in practice. He doesn't practice catching punts in practice. He'll never get another shot.
I love that analogy. That's right. I think people should apply that to you know what I thought about? Like in the other day we were laughing about this, but I'll bring it up again. I can do pretty much anything you ask me to do in this business. I can, okay? Right. But I'll be the first guy to tell you, all right? I can do updates. He does them better. Tom Mazaway's better at doing updates than I have no problem saying that. Mm-hmm. I can do it. If you ask me to do it, I'll do it. And I think I do a pretty good. I think I do a pretty good job.
You do a great job.
He's better. I have no problem saying that, So it's and
he's humble. He's so modest. No, you know what, Sean, you're modest. You're pretty awesome.
That's very kind. Thank you.
Hey, you got a note on your mic.
Do I really? What? No chair? Who put that there?
It just says chair though, but okay.
Right, that's what I think it shares. Yeah. But listen, at the end of the day, I'm serious. How many times have we here? Frank Ragnow can go play someplace else on the line. He can. He's that talented. He can go. You want to move him over? Let's try Glasgow at center. Okay, sure. Can Ragnow go play elsewhere? Yeah. Why on earth are you doing that? Frank Ragnow's a dominant center.
Dominant.
What? Period. That's not like again, that's
Question.
not opinion.
Now-
I mean,
now-
it's
now-
documented.
So this is a thing now where I take it to the media. Did you feel that way from the first time he did that? Do you think the media felt that way? Was it talks about that early
Okay, you don't know what you just did because Scott Bischoff and I got into an argument with, I'm not going to say their names, I'll tell you during the break. We got in an argument with a couple people about this literally after his first year of playing. I'm not like, and when Scott's in tomorrow, we can talk about it. I was like, why on earth are you playing a dominant center at a position other than center? Okay, and to me, Joik, after the fact is when people always go, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. But I think what people are afraid to do, true story, all right? I think people don't want to run amok of the general manager and draw his ire and come across as they're being negative, right? Like, I'll use the Jared Goff example, okay? Like, and we're going to get to this in just a second. Kennedy wrote Sean's harsh opinions on Jared Goff. I'm serious when it's not an opinion. He wasn't good the last 2 years. That's not an opinion. Do you want me? I can back it up with fact if you want. He had 29 interceptions. He fumbled the ball 7 times last year. That's not an opinion. I mean,
man lie, woman lie, numbers don't.
I don't know what the now again. If here's the thing, and Joik and I were talking about this yesterday. If you're saying that Jared Goff is the quarterback the next 2 years, I'm all for it. You're not going to be very good. We talked about it earlier, right? You're not going to be very good. We're cool with it. If you tell me 3 years from now that you're thinking about Jared Goff as being your franchise quarterback, I'm going to tell you to go straight to Hades. I don't want any part of that. He's a great placeholder. He is. Outstanding placeholder. But it's not, is that, like, Joik, and I'm being serious, is that a harsh opinion? Or is it being honest about what he's been?
It's harsh and it's honest.
And
you brute.
He was phenomenal the year that he went to the Super Bowl. He was great. He had a great year.
And he had a drop off. You know, it's crazy that after a player has a great season, if he doesn't have another great season, he sucks. No,
I'm not saying
he had
sucks.
a drop.
He's not a franchise quarterback.
Yeah, he is. Is he the starting quarterback for the Lions?
He is, and I'm glad that they have a less than quarterback because I want losses.
So he's a franchise quarterback. That's false.
Losses.
Again, that's another opinion. That's not a fact. He's a franchise quarterback because he's a starting quarterback for a franchise in the NFL.
Joy.
Sean.
You know what a franchise quarterback is.
He's a franchise quarterback.
You've seen franchise quarterbacks. Yeah. Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning is a franchise quarterback. Peyton Manning is a franchise quarterback. Okay? He is. Rex Grossman is not a franchise quarterback. Jay Cutler was not a franchise quarterback.
I agree with that.
You understand that? That's to me. That's what I'm. You know what? In my mind, I thought that Matthew Stafford was a franchise quarterback here. I did.
You thought?
I did think he was a franchise quarterback here. Yeah,
you knew.
I did. He's gone. So that's
He's still a franchise.
And I know a lot of people will disagree with me there, and this goes back to people talking about playoff wins.
You know what? If he goes to L.A. and Matthew Stafford has success in Los Angeles, and then they say, wow, we really have something good there. All right.
He's going to change the narrative about him 100%. I talk about it. Maz, you and I were talking about it. John Elway was a loser. John Elway, even for all his heroics, all those late comebacks, taking less than teams to the Super Bowl, John Elway was a loser.
I was a young pup then.
The Simpsons had like running jokes about John Elway's and the Broncos getting killed in the Super Bowl. You win one, the whole narrative changes. You win two and retire and ride off into the sunset, John Elway is one of the greats. I mean, that's right or wrong. That's what guys, and then that's the same thing when we fight the Stafford argument here. I think you and I are on the same page about Matthew Stafford. A lot of respect for Matthew Stafford, right? I think people here still don't get how good Matthew Stafford was. But because there was no playoff success, masses aren't going to give him that love. I get it. I'm not going to argue it anymore. I get it. It happened, and things didn't work out here. I think it was far from his fault, but he's never, ever – Marino. Dan Marino's one of the greatest quarterbacks ever to play. Period. End of story. He went to one Super Bowl. They got killed by the Niners. Dan Marino is still one of the best quarterbacks that ever played. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate because that's what we judge quarterbacks by. But I mean, trust me, I get your point. But I think there's a difference between a Jared Goff and a Patrick Mahomes or a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers or a Drew Brees. Those guys that you get them and you hold on to them for 15 years. That is your guy. And that's so when I use the term franchise quarterback, that's what I mean. Jared Goff, I'll say this about almost every backup in the league. If you're in the National Football League, you can play football. If you think a guy sucks, you're not in the National Football League. Backup quarterbacks, especially if you give a quarterback time to throw, they're going to pick you apart.
Pick you apart.
Hey.
And I can get, you give me time, I'll pick you apart.
Listen, right?
You know what I'm saying? You give me time, I'll pick you apart.
Hey, guys.
Give me time.
We saw this up close and personal, okay? There's a quarterback in Chicago who's not good, named Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky isn't good, okay? But you know why he lights up the Lions? Because they had two of the guys who thought they were the smartest men in the room and said, we're going to drop back into zone coverage and allow Mitch Trubisky to go nuts on us late in the
windows.
Game.
Everybody can hit windows.
Thank you.
If we don't have, you know what it is? You can do that, right? You can drop back. You can do that when you have a front four who can get pressure on the quarterback. We didn't have that, to have that consistent pressure on the quarterback this year.
So as you're watching it, doesn't that frustrate you as a player?
Yeah, but what do you do?
That's exactly it.
What do you do when you have a defense like that?
1,000% right.
You blitz.
You have to.
You have to. They get the pressure on the quarterback.
If you give a guy time in this league, he's going to kill you. And,
then
that's what Mitch Trubisky did.
And then you're hoping that your DBs can hold man-to-man for, 3 seconds. I mean, and that's – you don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know with this defense.
No.
It's the unknowns, right?
No, that's
exactly. So you put your defense in bad positions that ultimately is going to put your offense in bad positions. And then when you have a defense like this, as offensively, you have to try to keep them off of the field. You can't afford to go 3-and-outs. You can't do it, right? 2014 we could do it, We did do it a couple times, so quite a few.
Maz, I don't know if you've ever heard this theory of mine, okay? And I've thrown this to Joy, all right? But I know what a big fan you are, and this is for everybody else out there, okay? If you take the defense of 2014 and you marry that with the offense of 2016, right? I'm not saying they go win this. I'm not saying you guys are going to go win the Super Bowl, okay?
Oh, no, we winning it.
Okay. You know what? You're winning a couple games. I'm convinced of it. I'm convinced you guys are winning a couple games.
We might have a 13-3, 14-2 season. I'm not lying.
I'm not going to argue.
Yeah, we're 11-5. We're having a 13.
And any game that was close, what the 2016 team did is you guys sealed the deal late. I mean, it happened.
We could
go back and look. I mean, it's just I can't tell you how many. It's like, okay, we're going to get the ball. We're going to go win the game, and they did. And it was so much fun. And unfortunately, what happened is you didn't have that 2014 defense with that team. So, to me, Joy, and Maz, I'm glad to hear you agree. That's something that, and I try to move on, and I swear to God, my mindset moving forward is going to be 100% better because I've accepted, and I hope the rest of you accept, the Lions aren't going to be good the next couple of years. And I've accepted it, okay? So, but, it's almost like I need to flush all that disappointment away and try to focus on the point that they're actually building the right way now.
That's what we need to focus on.
That's what I'm trying to do right now. Mm-hmm. It was very, very tough. What do you think about Sue calling Jared Goff the best quarterback he had? Now, in fairness, don't forget he said that after Jared Goff had an unbelievable season. If you're gonna, to me, and I'm a firm believer in this, if I'm going to talk about Jared Goff, I have to talk about all of Jared Goff. Okay. Right. And that's why I point out he was unbelievable 2 years ago. He was. I mean, what happened between then and now? Did they figure him out? Did they figure out McVay? Whatever the case may be, he kind of turned into a turnover machine. The numbers weren't as gaudy and everything.
Got figured out.
But if we're going to have this conversation, Joy, and this is why I hope you may disagree with me, but I'm being fair, I have to include that Jared Goff had a phenomenal season 2 years ago.
Why would I disagree with that?
No, but because it's like Kennedy said, my harsh opinions. It's not an opinion to look at everything. If I'm willing to say he was great just 2 years ago, then I think you have to be willing to say the last 2 years he wasn't very good, and he was a turnover machine.
He wasn't very good, or he wasn't as good as the 2 years ago. That's
I don't know. Here, I'll ask you: if you're averaging over a turnover a game, do we call that good? If you throw 29 interceptions, and I forget what the number of fumbles was.
No. It wasn't 29 interceptions. I think
between 2 years it was.
Oh,
it was 16 and 13.
All right, between 2 years.
His next 2 years he threw 29 interceptions, and I know last year he fumbled 7 times. That's not just less than a phenomenal season. That's not good. Yeah. I mean it just hurts your team, and that's my whole point about Jared Goff. Dig a little deeper. If we're gonna applaud him, and rightfully so, for that great year 2 years ago, we can't look past the last couple years.
Yeah, he did. He had a drop off, but I want you guys to understand he played hurt this year. He was hurt playing with that thumb.
Oh yeah, no question. Did you read the article in the Maz? Was it you that sent that to me? The LA Times article. That was a fascinating article because this has been building for a while. Like, he and the coaches didn't get along, and I think it even started before you made reference to it. The comment about his Sean McVay's girlfriend. Yeah.
Fiance now.
Yeah, fiance now. Goff said he wanted to play in that playoff game. He was ready to go. He had the surgery. He wanted to play, and McVay benched him. And you're going with, in essence, a practice squad guy for a playoff game, right?
All right.
And then if you remember, he got knocked out early in the game, and they had to put Goff in there.
Right.
But it was interesting. I mean, does that tell you how far somebody fell? And I'm not saying, listen, I'm not saying it's because he sucked or anything like that. I'm saying there was, to all the people out there that said, well, you have to remember that he was hurt. Goff now himself is saying, I wanted to go. I was ready to go. And he started a practice squad.
Listen to me.
Yikes.
Listen to me. I'm not saying that Jared's going to come here and he's going to be the answer to our prayers. Right?
I get it.
Even when he played for L.A., he had a great season, but he was surrounded by great pieces. He had a great team around him.
Absolutely.
I was never sold on Goff, but I think he's a good quarterback to have on your team, a great placeholder. But even when he had that great season, that great year, it was certain plays that he would make where I would look like, why would he throw that? Oh, why would he make that decision? You know what? And I'm not in that offensive. I'm not in that offensive room. I'm not in that. I'm not in his head. I don't know what they went over in film session. I don't know what he might have saw. But it was certain times where he's a good player though. He's a good player. I'm not taking anything away from him. But I don't think he's the answer to our prayers here. Yeah. And I think, and a lot of people know that. We know he's a placeholder. We know how you feel about him. We know how Mass felt about him.
Yeah, I'm like, seriously.
We know how Fish feels about him.
No, I'm not joking. To clarify, I'm fine with him being quarterback the next 2 years. What is mind-boggling to me is when people say, well, let's see what happens. I don't want Jared Goff to be the quarterback of the future when this team's ready to go in 2 or 3 years. I don't think Jared Goff is a difference maker. I really, truly don't.
Yeah.
And I you know what? I want that. Here's that quote again, Joey. I want that franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
I want them to draft a guy and say, you are going to be our Peyton Manning, our Tom Brady, our Aaron Rodgers, whatever the case may be.
No,
and it's
Sean,
easier said than done.
So I got a question for you, Sean.
Yes, sir.
And give me your honest answer.
All right.
If that got back to you, if you're a head coach, all right, if you're a head coach, and what Goff said to his friends about his head coach, how would you respond to that?
I'd laugh. I'm not. If somebody calls my wife attractive, thanks. I don't. It doesn't, and he didn't say attractive, as you well know.
What did he say?
What was the exact? I'd hit that. It was something along that line.
I know. I want to hear. I want to hear.
Was
Sean
it?
say
I'd hit that.
Didn't he say that he wanted to pipe her down?
He said, "I will pipe Sean's girlfriend." His exact words. I will pipe Sean's girlfriend.
Well, it's not going to happen, but I'd be. Yeah, I worked with somebody who always used to tell me that I outkicked my coverage. Am I supposed to be offended at that?
No. You outkicked your coverage. That means
great.
Yeah, that's just
cool.
You outkicked
Poor
your
her.
coverage.
I win.
Yeah, you won.
Right? Art's shaking his head. He knows the story over there.
Yeah, you quartered
cool. It's no, seriously. Killer always used to say that. Killer is like.
So, Art, real quick, how did you meet your wife?
Are you going to send us to break? I'm not telling you because I know you're just screwing
with
me right now.
I'm just asking the question.
No, I don't trust you today. So
why? I just asked, how did you meet your wife?
This isn't
people
important.
People want to know. All right. People want to know, how did you meet your wife? We on the topic.
Can we go to break?
You don't love her or something?
Let me say this very quickly. As Maz brought it up, he had the finger, and Steve said, hate those dang nagging finger injuries. Jared Goff told Sean McVay, I'm ready to go. I want to play. He was cleared.
Regardless of that, though.
And he was benched.
Hey, I got benched in the game because I felt like my Achilles had popped a little, but I was good, and I was ready to go back in the Steelers game. But coach said, no, we're not playing with that. Have a seat.
Was that the pouring rain game in Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh, yeah. Right.
When the head coach at the time wasn't scared?
Yeah, he wasn't.
And decided it was smart to call a fake field goal with a 22-pound punter. What a brilliant man that guy is.
He was 175, 180. Very athletic.
What a brilliant play call that is.
We ain't scared.
Nothing shows you're tough like, hey, guys, we're going to run our punter at you from the 5. Oh, wow. Way to go, Hulkamania. Don't get me started. All right, cool. We got to take a quick break. Listen, one thing I do have to tell you about is our friends at MyBookie. You've heard the name everywhere, MyBookie. We are glad that they are part of what we do, and now they are a part of, well, quite frankly, my everyday life. Take advantage of MyBookie's Prop Builder live in-game betting, where every single run, throw, touchdown is another chance for you to put cash in your pocket. Visit their mobile-friendly website today. Get your deposit match halfway up to $1,000, but you have to use the promo code Woodward to take advantage about that. The best part, they make it simple with a variety of ways to deposit instantly, including credit card, bank transfer, Bitcoin, and more. Whether you're at home or on the go, on your laptop, or yes, on your phone, it's not too late to make your New Year's resolution a resolution to get paid. Bet, win, get paid. It's MyBookie. Use promo code Woodward. Get 50% off of your first deposit matched.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Spinning him down, putting the ball in the 1. Second and goal, and Gronk Bell goes in for the touchdown.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Baligian Bell Show. And we were sitting down talking over the break just about some fun facts that the Dallas Cowboys, they have more win coin tosses than any other team in the NFL. And then something that's going to be very interesting to see going into this upcoming game is that Tom Brady has 36 touchdowns in the red zone and 0 interceptions. That's going to play a major role.
Is that insane?
Insane.
I almost want Maz, get on that. Go do the research on that.
NFL posted it.
The NFL did post it. He sent me the meme.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? It's incredible.
Posted it.
It's
go check it.
It's absolutely
36 touches and 0 interceptions in the red zone.
See, and I
numbers.
love stuff like that because I mean it is such a I don't know, argument ender. It's like anybody, and I'm a firm believer in Tom Brady's the best quarterback I've ever seen. Period. End of story. I'm
gonna tell you this, Sean. I'm gonna tell you this. If the weather benefits anyone this upcoming weekend, it'll be Tom Brady because of his experience of playing in it. Take that to the bank.
I'm not going to argue too much with that.
Anything that can help, can help this team, give them any type of edge over the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to need it.
I love, and I'm serious when I say this, love with a capital L. And if you want, I'll even go capital OVE. I love Patrick Mahomes. I do. He is so exciting. He is, I think he's going to be the face of the NFL for years to come. I really do. He just, great personality, not afraid to poke fun at himself. Like, I love the catch-up stuff. I mean, when did we all start taking ourselves so seriously? And this is what I like about you, Joy, because you've never been that guy. But there are some guys that, just take themselves seriously. And I promised myself, no matter what I did in this business, I was never just going to take myself seriously. Because, at the end of the day, I'm still dad when I go home. Right. I'm
You're
still
trying
the
to
guy.
take work home with you.
Yeah,
Right.
and all. So I never will take myself
You're a
seriously.
lucky man.
I'm
I leave
more
working.
blessed than you could ever imagine.
You leave work and you leave work at home. I leave work and I have work at home.
Yeah, I'm more blessed than you could ever.
Oh, man.
I get to go pick up my daughter from school today. I win. Like, seriously. I mean, it's like, hey, honey, how was your day? Hey, Dad, how was your show? Well, Joik was very mean to me. Art yelled at me. Fish told me I blow. But other than that, everything's great. You want to go home and play?
Art didn't tell us how he met his wife. It's okay. Yeah.
Jenna said, Sean, do you love PM like Joik loves Art? Yes. I would say that love is very comparable.
What
as
love is
Joik's love for Art is, my love for Patrick Mahomes is. You guys got a thing. You're not fooling me. You and Art, you're tight. You both pretend like you're not, but it's almost like that relationship when you're 12 with a girl. You pretend that she's got cooties
So Art is a 13-year-old girl with cooties. That's what you're saying? Are you comparing Art to a 13-year-old girl
Sean.
with cooties?
Art, no, Art turned against me. Yes, I agree with you, Jenna. Yes, it's like that.
It's not comparable.
Is like, you know what's funny? We were talking about the Super Bowl, and Maz and I were getting all nerdy talking about favorite Super Bowls of years gone by, and it's so strange because I've always looked at the Super Bowl as just a game between two teams that I have to figure out who I'm rooting for. Does that make sense?
Right.
Very, very rarely have I ever had like a true rooting interest. Now, there have been Super Bowls where I've rooted against a team because I hate a team, but very rarely have there been Super Bowls where, I rooted for them because I'm a big fan of them. That's why I can't wait for the Lions to eventually make it. Don't you start with me, Fish. Fish is already back there trying to tell me to stop leaning forward. Don't you start with me. I've been very calm today and sane today.
I wonder who's the true corporate of that. I wonder who's the true corporate. Really quick. My tenant will always be my guy. Perfect in Super Bowl. That's true. We can't argue that. Drake Bell, are you excited for Sue? You know what? I am. Thank you, Andrew. I'm excited for Sue. I was very fortunate to play with Sue here in Detroit, and we kept in contact throughout his time with LA and now with Tampa. And one of the most professional guys I know, very business savvy. His routine in the weight room was unreal. I remember going through training with him and the off-season training, off-season workouts, where he'll come in, he'll run this conditioning test, and the crazy thing was when he ran the conditioning test, our conditioning test was the 300. Was the 300s where you had to do. It wasn't 100 and back. It wasn't 50 and back. It was 25 and back 6 times. So I was like, that's tough because it's more so of getting out that break when you touch the line, getting out. And I remember when he came down for his last touch, coming down and going back, he ran the whole last one backwards and made his time, right? And he had Ziggy Ansah doing it with him, and he still got first place. I mean, he was just that type of animal. His work, his preparation is unmatched as a defensive player.
I was doing a show at one of the casinos in town. This is about 10 years ago. And at the time, I was about 190 pounds. And Sue comes in, and he's 290, okay? He's 290. And I'm telling you what, he was every bit as lean as I was with 100 pounds more. I've never seen a guy, his body type was insane. I mean, just he was so.
Until Aaron Donald?
Yeah, he was so thick, but yet he was so lean.
Hey, we're not gonna say thick on this show. Only people that got to be thick in here is what Shannon Sharp say is the IG models and strippers.
THICC.
Did you know what I'm saying? We don't have to use thick on this show. We could say he was solid. He was solid. He was solid.
Oh, did you hear what Jenna said? Joik, Sue has a one-up on you. He took a picture with me when I first met him. I'm still waiting on my picture with you.
You came on a show with me, Jenna. We have a whole video of you together, of you and I together. So how's that one up? Aha.
What was that, Art? I didn't hear you over there. What were you saying?
I was saying you guys are doing great on the show.
That's what you said. That's what I thought you said. That's what I thought you said. That's what I thought he said.
Then he drops. That's what I thought you said.
That's what I thought you said.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
No, the one thing that I will say, and this goes back to what we were talking about 10 minutes ago. I absolutely positively ticked off Lion fans in 2011. The Thanksgiving Day game in 2011 when he stomped on Aaron Rodgers. And then Sue, after the game, said, I didn't stomp on him. Huh? And then it was, well, I stomped on him, but I didn't know. I didn't know that it was his leg. Huh? And it's like, you know what my mindset was, and this goes to show you, you're never going to win. At least I'm honest. At least I'm honest.
He was younger than, he's grown.
Yeah, but Joy, thank you. Do you know what the problem was?
What was the problem?
Back then, there were people like me on radio and television saying, stop allowing him to lie. It's a horrible. So now you're a Packer fan? You hate Sue? Oh, now you hate the Lions? And it's like, no, it has nothing to do with any of that. Let's call it like we were talking about with Goff. If we're gonna talk about it, let's really talk about it. Did
the same attention get when I got stepped on for the Cowboys?
I will absolutely positively yell at anybody that stomps on anybody. And I promise you.
I'm saying, did it get the same media attention?
Of course it didn't.
Exactly, it didn't. And
why is that?
But it was in a playoff game, though.
And why is that?
It was a more important game.
Well, I was waiting for you I was lobbing you a softball.
Huh?
What were you asked after the Cowboy game? What was your answer to about 711 questions?
Detroit versus everybody.
That's why. No, but I mean, I hope you understand my point. I mean, I would love to sit here and say, oh, you can't blame Ndamukong Suh for that. I'm not doing my job. I have to be. He stomped on Aaron Rodgers. He did. He stomped on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, he did.
It happened. I mean, let's move on. And I think, unfortunately, somehow, again, some people think like being honest is
I'm
harsh or mean, and it's like, no, I'm being honest. He stomped on Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, what's worse? I mean, getting your leg stepped on, getting your head pulled to you, almost rip your twist your neck.
Remember that?
Yeah, I mean, what's worse?
I'd take Ndamukong Suh back in a heartbeat, by the way.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat. He's not coming here, but would I take? I mean, to all the rumors about him coming back next year. I mean, let's be why. Too late. You know what?
What's too late? Why is it too late?
He's done. We're done.
I think
if he wins the Super Bowl, we bring him back.
Right. Do you think he'd come here for a rebuild, though? I don't think he'd come here for a rebuild.
No, at the point of his career right now, the only team that he will go to will be similar to what a Tom Brady did.
Sure.
He would go to a team to where they can compete, and they only need one piece.
I'm going to go to Tennessee. I'm going to go to Kansas City. I'm going to, something like that.
I'll do that. Tennessee, no. I wouldn't do Tennessee.
They're pretty damn good.
They are good, but but if he wants to compete for a Super Bowl, I wouldn't go to Tennessee. When the best player, on your team is a running back.
Yeah, see, I agree. I have a feeling Tannehill's only going to get him so far.
Yeah, and I like, and I'm not saying that Tannehill's not a capable quarterback, but when it comes to getting to the Super Bowl, look who's in the Super Bowl and look at the quarterbacks. You have a Patrick Mahomes, you have a Tom Brady. Now, it was either going to be Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, two of the top quarterbacks in the NFL right now, and a quarterback that arguably can be MVP of the NFL right now. So I don't think Tannehill is that. He's not that caliber quarterback, but he is a good quarterback in the league. So I'm not taking anything from him, but these are the hard facts.
Yeah.
This is the harsh truth.
No doubt about it.
So if I was Sue, I wouldn't go to Tennessee. I would go to Washington before I went to Tennessee. I would. If they had a quarterback. If Stafford would have went to D.C., if I'm Sue, I would go to D.C. next.
Chase Young is that good. He really. If this was a sign of things to come, I'm serious.
Yeah.
And again, we have to assume that you get better after your rookie year. He was sickening. He was unbelievable.
We'll see how he goes. And Sue going there will only make him that much better because he can give him tips in the offseason. Oh, this is things I did to keep me playing at a high level. You can take it. You don't have to take it. You can take some. You can tailor it to it so it can fit you and what you need. But every young player needs that guy to say, this is how you be a pro.
Steven, you are 100% right. Tannehill, as good of a season as he had last year, is not a franchise quarterback. He's a good quarterback, walked into a really good situation, and was able to flip the script on his career. You have to give him credit for such. But do I look at Tannehill as a franchise quarterback? Absolutely not. I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. When the game's on the line and I need Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes to make a play and I look across the field and see Tannehill, I'm feeling pretty good about myself.
Yeah. And we had a question about Drake. Can you it said, why was Mayu so blind with Sue staying here? Drake, you knew he was leaving, right? You know what? Yeah,
he was blind, Kevin. You're 100%
as a
right.
player, yes. And we talked about it that we had an opportunity to get Aaron Donald, and we took Eric Ebron because at the time we didn't need
needed to upgrade the offense.
Right. We need to upgrade. Do I think we could have got that type of caliber athlete and another tight end later on? Yes, I think so. We actually had one on the team. We talked about it. We bring in an Aaron Donald. We bring in a Dave Osbury. You get him healthy.
Oh, Odell Beckham Jr. Well, I'm sorry. I had something in my throat. I apologize, but go ahead.
All right. So we have opportunity to get these guys. Honestly, how do you make that decision? How do you know he's going to pan out to be that, right? Everyone had a great combine. Everyone had a great season that year. How do you sit here and say, all right, this guy's going to be a Hall of Famer, a all-pro, Pro Bowler? How do you know that? You think that would, and he reached his potential before Eric Ebron reached his. But they both made, the Pro Bowl. Both were all pro at one point in time in their career. It's just he got to his quicker than Eric Ebron.
Well, and you know what? I told you my issue with Martin all along since that was brought up is he had convinced himself that Sue was going to stay to the point where, these are his words, not mine, that the day after he left, they were sitting around the office in Allen Park going, okay, what's option 2? And to me, you have to have option 2 there as a just in case. It's that due diligence thing. So to me, it was like the mistake. And I like Martin. I've said that to you. One can still like Martin but disagree with a move or disagree with how he handled that entire situation. I think the move was made worse by the fact that he was so thoroughly convinced that Sue was going to come back that they had to have a meeting the next day and saying, okay, now what? and they went and got Haloti Ngata, if you remember, out of Baltimore.
Yeah.
Like somebody, like literally one of his staff
wasn't
said,
a bad pick.
Go get Ngata, you know? And I mean, but to me.
Was that a bad pick?
No, but Joik, what I mean
like
is you didn't even have a plan B in place? To me, if you're doing your due diligence, you should have B, C, D, E. If this happens, then that happens. If that happens, then that happens. I thought that was damning on him. I think Martin, if you asked Martin today, Martin would probably say that. Now, everybody makes a mistake. That's exactly it. It's not. I'm not killing the guy for it, but that mistake was magnitude.
I'll tell you right now. All right, I'll tell you right now. We can't afford any mistakes right now.
Nope. Right now, nope.
Everything has to be calculated.
Couldn't agree more, pal.
Everything needs to be calculated.
Amen.
Everything needs to be thought out. We need scouts working around the clock. I think that they even stopped the scouts from going to the Senior Bowl this year, which is huge for scouts. Their jobs are already hard. How can they go look at some of the top talent in the country, right? But they're not, they're not afforded being able to go to these practices, because this is the time where a lot of these guys can really get a close look at the guys that's on their radar and get a chance to look at guys and see who they really are in practice, guys that they might not even had on their radar, all right? And the work and the hours that these guys put in like 16-hour days, day in, day out, sometimes staying at the stadium or the facility overnight, watching film, taking their work home with them. I mean, they're working nonstop, right? And that's why when people ask me, do you want to be a coach when you're done playing? Heck no. No.
Yeah.
I love the game.
This is why I love Brad Holmes as the hire too, because as you said and a couple other guys said, we need accuracy immediately. What would I rather have? A guy who is well versed in looking at cap numbers and crunching those cap numbers? Lions already have that. You know what I want? A guy, I don't care if he's green as all of Ireland. I want a guy that knows the draft. I want a guy where it's documented. He knows how to scout. He's got a great scouting staff, and you have a history of success in finding guys later in that. Give me that all day. And then you know what you do? You grab that guy. Okay, so we have the cap guy. Then you grab a guy like John Dorsey, who knows what it's like to be a general manager, and you say, okay, he's the general manager, but you're going to kind of be looking over his shoulder and guide him in the right direction. Give me the draft guy all day. That's how you win in the National Football League. And hopefully the Lions are embarking on an era where, like you said, and Steven said, we need the accuracy immediately. Yeah. Invert cliche here. Yeah. Plan the work the plan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and this is where it comes into play to where how they have the scouts come in and they give their reports, right?
Yep.
They have to give these reports. And these reports they have to be accurate, right? Because honestly, the GM, he doesn't have time to watch all of the film in the world. He has so many things he's doing. So he's really counting on his scouting department to look at guys so he can know what guys to go look for. And he might have guys that's on his radar as well. But, I mean, they're working around the clock. And so the thing I like about this regime is that I think they're going to be taking in consideration from everyone in the building that's dealing with the front office in the process of different players, from the college level to the free agency level of the pros. So I'm excited to see what this future holds for this Lion franchise. I think we're getting off to a great start. But like I said, the only thing that I'm waiting to see is how this group of men mesh together. All right. And all these guys have played in the game, so they know how to work. They know how to work with multiple people, with different cultures, with egos. They know how to deal with these type of people. This is not their first rodeo.
No.
So I don't think egos will play that big of a part in it at first. When the season gets started, we'll see what happens. But right now, there's no egos right now. They're coming in, they are trying to just get settled. What's our vision? And they're going to sit down in a room similar to this, and they're going to say, what are we trying to accomplish here? And then Dan Campbell's going to have his vision for this team. He's going to lay it out. Everything's going to operate this type of way. If you guys don't like this type of way, that's fine. Bring it to me, right? I'm here to listen. We're going to learn from each other. And that's the type of people we need here. No egos.
He's a smart man. By the way, I was in Ford Field a couple weeks ago, and I saw the sign up for Dagger Time. I puked in my mouth. I just needed to point that out. Can we tear that sign down? Mr. Wood, if you're watching, can we tear, like, Dagger Time down now? Well, I guess it was Dagger Time. It was time to take out the dagger and slay the guys that were here and bring in a couple new guys and hope that it works out. All right, one more segment of the show. A couple things that we want to hit on before we get out of here. The Todd Bowles situation. I'm a big due diligence guy. I'll get Joik's take on that. Also, the guys from the Smoke Show are here. It's Wings Day. Yes, it's Wings Day. We had a trial run last night. We did some wings last night at my house, and we have more wings coming up. Of course, the Super Bowl. I don't know what you do for the Super Bowl. I've always had a small shindig for the Super Bowl. Small. Not a lot of people. We have my daughter's birthday party, and then I say, if you want to stick around and watch the game, you could stick around and watch a game. So I'll be doing a lot of cooking at my house. It's going to be a wings and rib day for me on Super Bowl Sunday. We'll show you how to make some wings. It's very easy coming up on the Smoke Show, including the secret weapon to making wings. You know what the secret weapon to making wings is? I'm serious. Ready? Cornstarch. Look it up. If you don't believe me, look it up. All right, we'll come back, wrap it up on a Wednesday afternoon. So glad you could join us. Joik Bell, Sean Baligian, I Hate Chairs. This is Woodward Sports.
Hey, it's Joey from Woodward Sports, and I am here in downtown Fenton at Bridge Street Exchange. This place has so many amazing things for guys. And ladies, this is the hidden spot that you got to come check out. I'm talking Thoroughgood boots, best boots ever. They have barware. They got the Stormy Cromer hats. They got Carhartt hats, a huge Carhartt selection. They even got Snoop Dogg underwear. So go check them out, bridgestreetexchange.com, and use the code word WSN for 15% off.
Hi, friends. Welcome back. Glad you could join us. Baligian Bell here on a Wednesday afternoon. Again, if we had smell vision, you guys would be all guilty right now. You can smell some wings in the house. My boys from the Smoke Show, Mike Ivesil and Dave Hubbard, of course, the chef, the owner of the butchery out here our way, did some wings. We're bringing them in. We had a trial run last night. Steve said, I'll be over for the Super Bowl shindig. I'm one of those guys. I'm going to do a bunch of wings for people that like wings. I got 3 racks of baby backs. One of those are mine, just mine. No, really, it's mine. It's really, really, truly mine.
I'm upset.
And I'm going to do some steaks.
I'm upset. Baligian, this is the second time now. I wasn't invited to the show prep yesterday. Now there's a Super Bowl party.
These guys aren't coming to the Super Bowl party. They're not coming to the Super Bowl party.
We don't even have exclusive.
Wow. No. You need a really special pass to get in for that. You just do. I mean, there's just no doubt. I don't know. As long as I've known Mike, if Mike doesn't get one, then that's in trouble. But no, all jokes aside, we were talking about this, and I'll let the chef explain it. I had been told last spring, to add cornstarch to the finished product on wings, that the not so finished product on wings, and cornstarch absolutely positively crisps them up. It's phenomenal. And you know what's funny? I saw Dan Patrick actually talking about how he has a chef friend that suggested adding cornstarch to the wings to kick it up a notch, and that's Dan Patrick's like Traeger wing, because they basically asked some celebrities and pseudo celebrities, give us your wing recipe and everything, and Joik, cornstarch.
So it's funny that you guys started doing this because you guys were friends. You guys started this show, right? And we had a question from Kevin. He said that Joik Bell, who was the teammate you made the greatest friendship with? Hang out with type brother, was it high school, Was it in college or was it in the NFL? And for me, I would probably say it was college. One of my best friends, you know what, and you hear this saying, like, you'll meet your best friends in college, right? You'll meet your best friends in college. So for me, my best friend in college was Aaron Higginbottom. Mm-hmm. Still friends to this day. You remember him play wide receiver.
Absolutely.
And so graduated, we became like the best of friends, and now we're business partners. Me and him, I got my first real estate property with him, and now we've grown it to about 400 right now. And so we're doing, blood can make us no thicker. So I'll probably say college for me, for sure. We got a lot of cool things coming up, though. We talked about this earlier, that we had the Black History Month, and we always wanted to do something every day to kind of show our appreciation for Black history on this show and just kind of bring awareness of Black history. And so we're going to end the show with something dope, but it's going to come up a little bit later on. But before we go, we have a couple more things.
Isn't he a pro? What did you make of the Lions report coming out? They never actually had an interview with Todd Bowles. They interviewed 6 candidates at the head coaching position. Yeah. They did not wait around to have the conversation with Bowles. They made their decision. I'm a huge due diligence guy.
Yeah.
And I think if you've talked to 6 guys and you know that Dan Campbell is the guy that you want, then you hire him.
Yeah. You know what, though?
I don't have any problem with it.
You know, we don't have any problem with it right now. Now, say 5-6 years down the road, we're not doing so hot, then this topic is important. All right, then this topic. No, Bowles, we didn't interview Bowles, but we won the Super Bowl. This never had, this doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't matter. I think we got the right guy for the job right now. Sit back and wait. I think we're bringing in some great pieces around him. I want to see what he does. He does great. The conversation of never interviewing Bowles will never become a topic.
Absolutely.
But say he doesn't do well.
And Bowles goes on to success?
Yes, and Bowles goes on to success.
Do we know that?
We're going to get slammed.
Absolutely.
We're going to be slammed. We had an opportunity to get him here, and they passed on him.
Typical Lions.
But you know what, though?
Typical Lions.
But had that same
SOL.
But that's what I'm saying. If you're going to have that energy then, have that energy now.
I agree with you.
They need to be saying this now. Oh, we didn't interview Bowles. He has, and they coach together.
Yeah.
They coach together. Yeah. And so it's I want to hear that same energy now, not down the road. Not down the road.
Steve, this is good. He goes, ooh, Sean said the SB word, 5K or I'm going to snitch. That's good. It's game day, and we can't do an SB show. Does that make sense? That's a rule. In case you missed the show yesterday, I'm not joking. He and I have done SB shows together at a place in state, and you are not allowed to say SB, Super Bowl, and you cannot say the names of the teams. You can say the cities. You can say Tampa. You can say Kansas City. You cannot say the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. The NFL will fine you. I wish I was making that up. That is 100% true. I mean, it's insanity. By the way, before we get to the Black History Month video, I love this from Jenna. Don't lie, Joik. You met your best friend here. It's art. Best friends for life.
No, me and my best friend, we actually we do art together at the at the one spot. We used to take our girls down there back in the day.
All right.
Art with a twist.
As Joik was telling you, we have a pretty cool video to show you to close out the show on a Wednesday. Thank you for watching. As always, we'll see you tomorrow at 11 o'clock, Woodward Sports.
Long before Spike Lee, John Singleton, and Julie Dash broke barriers for black cinema, Oscar Micheaux became the first major black filmmaker to produce and direct his own films. Ever the entrepreneur, Oscar Micheaux left home at 16, became a train porter, and then a homesteader. Supporting a farm was anything but easy. Micheaux turned to writing as a new source of income. And in 1917, Micheaux would publish a book that altered his future forever. It was called The Homesteader, and he adapted it into a silent movie, which he produced independently. The Homesteader began Micheaux's career as the first major independent producer-director of black films. His work critiqued the racist stereotypes of black people,
typically depicted in Hollywood films.
You are seeing a whole range of black characters on the screen, assertive, articulate, often sophisticated, strong characters who are trying to do something for themselves and the community.
His fifth film, Within Our Gates, directly rebutted the blatant racism of D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, a 3-hour-long piece of Jim Crow-era propaganda.
Within Our Gates responds directly to Birth of a Nation. The negative, stereotypical portraits of black people that were shown there were not how black people really were. And then showing that white supremacy was really the main problem in the South.
Other films, like The Symbol of the Unconquered and Body and Soul, sought to entertain while also delivering social commentary.
He covered issues that were not being covered in film, generally speaking. Lynching, discrimination, struggles around employment, class differences amongst African Americans.
Censor boards often edited Michaud's movies or rejected them outright. He used these attempts to censor his work to his advantage, marketing uncensored versions to curious and daring audiences. Forced to fund his own work, Michaud's success was self-made. Over a career spanning more than 3 decades, Michaud created more than 35 films and is considered the most influential African-American filmmaker of his time.